Okay, here again with Tia Scott, my sister. Want to catch up? We're wearing our masks, really, so we can try to stay safe. Um, so we're gonna try to speak loud enough so we can hear each other and go from there. I want to expand on what we talked a little bit about last week with child discipline, um, and want to ask you a couple questions, in terms of our conversation. One of them is I want to expand and talk more about, um, what is really the most important thing and what you want to accomplish out of disciplining your children. Like, tell me what. Again, trying to expand on our conversation from last week. What's the most important? What do you really want to get out of discipline your child? What is the most important factor? What do you want to see your children, your relationship with them getting out of this, out of the discipline piece?
I think it's probably twofold. Maybe one part of what I want to get out of the discipline for my kids would be a better relationship with them. So, getting to know them more based off of who they are and how they operate. So, I want to have an improved relationship with them, but then simultaneously prepare them for their future so that they can be independent, and so that they can become resilient to any challenges that they may face growing up
Mm,
and being a responsible citizen. So those are my goals with discipline.
right. Um, so again, just making sure I understand that. I mean, you're really valuing that relationship. Um, what's important to you and being able to have that relationship moving forward. Um, can you talk a little bit about the communication piece and
hmm
really what that means to you in terms of the child discipline?
Yeah, I think just being able to communicate differently based off of what child I'm disciplining at that time, because some people react differently to certain situations. So for me, it's all about kind of identifying what makes my child tick and where I need them to go, or what lessons I need them to learn. And I feel it's important to learn that through communication. And that involves listening, me listening, asking open ended questions, and really honing in on those feeling words when trouble happens or complications happens or challenges happen, to talk about how I feel, how they feel, what the end goal of the whole situation is, and hopefully be able to look back on it to say, laugh, or to say that that's happened and now we've grown and moved forward in that area.
Hmm. So really, what's important to you is making sure, um, when disciplining your child, is making sure that communication is open. And what you also value is just the independence in between your two kids. Really understanding that both of them are different, and you might have to treat them differently in terms of how you discipline them. One may take to one way of doing it. Another one may, react a different way.
hmm
So what you value is really that independence and understanding between those two. What needs to be done in terms of their discipline piece.
Yes, absolutely.
And now I guess the last piece, in thinking about our conversation from last week, one of the things you talked about is your feelings when discipline your kids. Can you expand a little bit on just how do you feel? What's your feelings, or how do you feel when you're in the middle of disciplining your child?
I think I experience mixed emotions. I think on the one hand, sometimes it can be hard because, you don't want them to feel upset, or you don't want them to feel uneasy, but then simultaneously I feel very, very good because I love them and I want to invest whatever time and effort that I need to do to make sure that they're positioned the best way they can, so that when I'm not around, they can be self sufficient and know how to be respectful and just learn basic elements of life that's important to me and growing up. So I think it's mixed feelings, but overall, I think it's a good thing. I think it's a needed thing. And I try to remind them that you know, some people who may not have parents, they don't get to experience, you know, the love or the tough love sometimes, and people don't really understand it till they grow up. So I think it's important to also remind them of that as well in those moments that, you know, I'm doing this because I love you and I want you to be safe and I want you to understand the differences between right and wrong. And to also be thankful for that because not everybody has that.
Right. So what's important is even though this is tough for us as parents to discipline, no one wants to do this. You know, you always hear your parents say, "This hurts me more than it hurts you."
Yeah.
I mean, I think what's important and what the value is, even though it's really tough, is something we got to do. And you know, in order to make our kids, you know, understand what's important in life and value those things. But I really want, is there anything else you want to add to our conversation? We've had some good talks here the last couple weeks. Is there anything you want to add to it?
Not really. I mean, I appreciate the conversation, and I mean, nothing else.
Well, I do too, and I appreciate you sitting down with me, and you know, this is a subject that everybody has their own opinions with, and I appreciate, you know, the fact that you are opening up and kind of telling me your ways of doing things, which could be different than mine, but at the same time, I think I understand, you know, what you value and you know what's important to you as we go forward with disciplining those two boys. All right, thank you for the conversation.
Okay, thank
All
you.
right.